Guys, welcome to the stream. We have a really cool episode planned for you guys today. We'll give it a couple minutes to allow you guys to join. If you guys are in the chat, say hi. Let me share that one.
What's up, John? John from Ink Park checking in. What's up, Dank? Aaron, you got two fellow Clinkers watching already.
There you go. It's like a fraternity.
Who's on there? Who's in there?
John Ramirez from of Ink Park and Dankadelic.
All right, cool. What's up, guys?
What's up, Willie? Rich?
All right, I got the links up. We'll see if our time change affects anything, Pierre.
Oh, we'll acknowledge that right when we get started here. And Aaron set us up with his jerseys behind him, so
There you go. Maybe a little bit of foreshadowing.
perhaps. Or maybe
Yeah,
not.
Magic's old. It's from the 90s, but that bird is pretty new.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Magic's a silk screen like champion, and then that bird's got the embroidery. I think it's a Adidas.
Oh, okay, that's cool. All right, we can get started, Leon.
Welcome to the stream, guys. This is Views from the Vault, episode 22. It's your homie Leon, here with my co-host Pierre. We got a really special episode planned for you guys today. Clinker, Aaron Bird, is in the house. He's going to go under the cap with us, talk a little bit about his journey, his work with Clink Room, his journey collecting hats, and we're going to get into all that good stuff. So take it away, Pierre.
Cool. So first we got to acknowledge, so we're a little earlier today. And it's not because Aaron has an early bedtime. It's because, I got the Celtics playing tonight. So, and I know you're a Lakers fan.
Yep.
What's interesting is you're a Lakers fan, but your last name is Bird.
Yeah.
So I'm
The only
hoping
way I can
that's a
wear
good
the-
omen if what's that?
It's the only way I can wear the Celtics jersey. It still feels a little weird, but at least it's got my name on the back. So
Yeah, so you and I are about the same age. So we did grow up at a time when Bird and Magic were still tearing it up, right before the Jordan era. So you and I were just old enough probably to remember that stuff, but prior to Jordan. But man, I'm hoping that LA and Boston meet in the finals. That would be, you and I are gonna have to talk a little shit if that does happen.
yeah.
But and you also wore a Boston Braves hat, which
Just to soften you up here.
softened me up.
Right now.
So I've got a bad rep.
No, Bostonians, I gotta be a friend. So
That's
I
right.
did see your worst fan base episode. So I'm downplaying my Dodger fandom. So
I didn't have but who did I go off on though?
you went off on the bandwagoners, I think. Like the ones who picked the Cowboys. The easy picks, I think. So
Yeah. So those folks that managed to like the Yankees,
yeah,
the Lakers, the Dallas Cowboys, like those,
yeah,
and sometimes the Detroit Red Wings, right? So that group of people.
yeah. And then the Dodgers get a little bit of that. I know they get the bad rap for the some of the violence that's happened. in the parking
Well,
lot.
listen, I think the bad thing was I think everyone was then labeling every Dodgers fan as some sort of murderer.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like, I get it. We don't want to be
Isolated
stabbing people.
yeah.
But I mean, it's LA, man. I mean, gangs take things a little bit, take things a little seriously out there. But listen, Aaron, I want to thank you for coming on. So for those that don't know, Aaron's about to take us on a journey of his life. Now, I want to share a couple things, Leon, before we put the slides up. Aaron is the first guest we've had that has put together a very complete and almost perfect timeline of his life.
Yep.
And in this timeline, there's also points that kind of allude to where the hat world was.
Yep.
And even a small detail of the most impressive hat wall Aaron saw that helped almost guide his path.
Didn't know it at the time, but
in hats. And Aaron is also one of the few individuals out there that was a contributor to the original Clink and Clink Room 2.0. So I don't want to give away too much of it because we're going to start off with a picture of you as a young man that proves you loved hats at a very young age. So Leon, let's pop that slide up there.
Let's do it.
There it is. There it is. In all your LA Kings, Wayne Gretzky glory. So
we owe a lot to Wayne. So
what was his famous quote?
Did he have one?
Wasn't the quote that you miss?
You miss all the shots you don't take, right? That's
right. But then it became Michael Jordan's quote somehow. But I think originally it was Gretzky's quote, right?
Yeah.
Gretzky started it.
Yeah. I think Gretzky started the quote, but everyone attributes it to Michael Jordan. But either way, you certainly didn't miss any shots in these photos. So tell us a little bit about your early years, Aaron.
All right. So here, me and my parents are in Laughlin on the one side. I'm wearing a Kings hat and a Luke Robitaille shirt. My sister's wasn't in Laughlin at the time. I think she was somewhere else, but I went with my parents and I think a friend to just a summer getaway. And I think we went to a baseball card show even on that trip. So that was good times. Met some hockey players. I was at a signing or something that, just so happened to be in Laughlin in that weekend or something. So I met Jeremy Roenick there and Adam Oates and some other guys, so it was cool. That a memory I had from that was Jeremy Roenick saw my shirt and he grabbed it and with his Sharpie, he was trying to mark my shirt, try to mark up Luke Robitaille there. So that was pretty cool. Then,
still would have been cool, right?
Yeah. Haven't forgot that. So, and then on the other side, early hockey days, I got into ice hockey because of the Kings and Gretzky, and I don't know why I'm like fully dressed in my my front porch here, but heading out to play some ice hockey. So, the Kings got me into hockey, and that's because of Wayne Gretzky and that whole explosion. And there wouldn't be a quarter of the teams if it wasn't for that. Hockey came to Florida and Tennessee eventually, and all kinds of places. Las Vegas now. So but before that I was a big baseball fan. So grew up in SoCal, watching the Angels mostly because they were closer than LA at the time, and taking to those games and watching them lose on pretty much every game I attended. So kind of became a Dodger fan after that, for the long term, but through the kind of was attracted to the late 80s years. I think even my first, actually, as a Dodger fan now, it's hard to admit that my first fitted hat was a Giants hat, San Francisco Giants.
Oh my God.
I know, but and that's the reason.
I'm okay with it, but I know that's a big deal for
yeah. I was a kid, and my reasoning was, I was a fan of Will Clark, so
Will the Thrill.
and then the A's for some reason. The Reds, the Reds of the 1990 team.
Oh,
I really love it.
Who's your favorite player from that team?
You would think Eric Davis, but Chris Sabo was my favorite. The third
baseman, Chris
Yeah.
Sabo, third base. Yeah. Chris Sabo was and he
Goggles.
always wore those rec specs.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
he was a brick wall at third base. So
Eric Davis was great too. What was Rob Dibble on that team?
I think so. Yeah. And
Rob Dibble.
Barry Larkin.
Oh,
Yeah.
Barry Larkin, what an underrated shortstop. But yeah, that team was loaded, man.
Yeah. So
I couldn't stand Rob Dibble though. I want to be clear, Aaron. I could not stand Rob Dibble.
Yeah. So I followed those teams through like the late 80s and early 90s and
yeah,
Bash Brothers, and then the Ken Griffey era. So
yeah.
Yeah, but you got my graphic here. I just kind of put this together for you guys. It's not.
This is probably the most impressive goddamn thing we've ever had on Fusion of Vault.
It's my icebreaker for you guys, so you don't,
I love it, man.
in dark here. So, so like any kid of the 80s or 90s, I was into Star Wars and baseball cards and Garbage Pail Kids and skate decks and things like that.
Most famous Garbage Pail Kid.
The Atom Bomb.
Atom Bomb, that's right. And remember, they all had B-sides too, right? They all had like alternate entities,
other names. Yeah. So and at the time, all these things I didn't realize was like telling me that I wanted to do art and design later on. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do in high school, really. And it kind of just I figured it out. But those were definitely the influences. Another mile marker here is like the Pro Image. Like that store blew my mind. Like they had one in my local mall, and like their hat wall was like 1.5 walls, like floor to ceiling. Like every league, every team, like every college, it was just like amazing. So I don't know
what's the Upper Deck Dream Team?
Oh no, that's not related. So Upper Deck being, that explosion of collecting, baseball cards.
Oh yeah.
And then just Dream Team, the Olympic basketball.
Oh, I got you. Okay. So Upper Deck, man, I remember the 89 Griffey rookie card, right?
Yeah. That was the number one card, literally, and put them on the map, so.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just like I'm probably like a lot of kids of that time, like playing Nintendo and Sega, NBA Jam, NHL 94, things like that. So I'm sure a lot of kids are like that. So
yeah, NBA Jam was my thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. Who was your favorite? Who was your go-to duo?
I liked Malone and Stockton for some reason. I don't know. Like I liked
Peyton and Kemp.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, the Sonics.
Yeah.
Sonics was cool. So
yeah.
Love that stuff. Played street hockey like every day. That was like what I did all the time, and it's easy to just throw on some blades and grab a stick and play with your buddies. So I don't know where else you want to go with this, man. Like
no, I think listen, it's almost like taking us on my history, because it's very similar, except I wasn't talented enough to play the guitar, but
I'm not.
I grew up in very different, very similar eras. So
yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about hats. So you and we can stay on the timeline for right now. You talk about in the 2000s the new era takeover, right? So tell me a little bit about like what you saw and what you felt at that time.
Well, I think everyone kind of knows that it went from kind of sports, everything sports, to like streetwear and clothing companies coming out with new era hats, and that that was kind of the expansion, I thought. And that kind of opened the door to different things, like style and creativity, I think. And I have some examples here if you want to check out a couple favorites.
Let's
do that now.
Let's do that. Yeah, you want to pull down the slide? We can take a look.
Oh, okay.
Let's pull down slides. We get a good look.
Well, something like this is one of my favorites. This is from Upper Playground. So it's like, you know, probably late 2000s. But this is, the artist is Saber. He's like a LA graffiti artist. And this is a silk screen everywhere, all over this, you know, so really unique, you know, for the time too. It's kind of just a pattern I think he did, and you know, they did an all over thing with that.
Yeah.
It's another favorite from them, Upper Playground. They kind of did this league of their own. They kind of like took almost stereotypical icons of a city, you know, there's like the, like they did like a Chicago, and it's like the Racketeers or something, and it's like an Al Capone mascot, which is super cool. There's like a Boston Strangler, which was cool. But they kind of did a league of their own for like, you know, a fictitious kind of icon of a city. Like I don't know if they were allowed to make it on a New Era hat, but like there was one, it was like a Miami Kilos or something like that, and
oh wow,
it was like a razor blade with a smiley, you know, like a face, you know. I think
some stuff that New Era wouldn't approve.
Yeah, definitely not. So I think they made T-shirts and probably not hats for that.
Can we see that one you just showed again, Aaron? Like I want to see the
like
back.
Like Diablo's here.
Yeah.
And this, you know,
see the back.
This they got like their own. It's like their walrus mascot that they do.
Is up on it.
UP Upper Playground.
Yeah.
And it, you know, even this, looking at this now, this kind of feels like an Ephra hat. You know, it's like flat with the metallic. I don't know if you can see the metallic there, but it's like I was looking at this. It kind of looks like a, you know, something Ephra would do. You know, so this is like LA Diablo.
Yeah, it does.
So in that, like,
have you ever seen that before, Leon? Have you ever seen that before?
No, that's old. You went deep in the vault for that one.
And that's where my stuff it really is. You know, like I haven't been a big collector lately, but I'm kind of back, I guess. So like everything that I have, like it's like from like the 2000s and 10s, you know, like.
Yeah.
So I was in more streetwear stuff, like Mishka. I was into, you know, like I put this on my Instagram. I think this was a sample even, like I don't know if this got made, but you know, it's got like satin lining and
original
pink under, like, you know.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. And then, you know,
people when they see this stuff are gonna be super impressed. This stuff is crazy.
Yeah.
What's that one?
Oh, this is one of their Death Adders is like one of their things that they do.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a Russian bear looking thing.
Yeah.
But it's all.
I've never seen that one. You seen that one, Leon?
Yeah, I have that one. Their bear always has like a rattlesnake tongue.
Yeah, it's got the snake tongue coming off.
Yeah, I've got a couple of those, but that one specific one with that medallion, I've never seen.
Yeah,
I got a couple others like somewhere. Like I think Casey showed the one that they did together, and it's like that. I can't remember the skeleton head that they do.
Michael Simon.
I have that somewhere, but not handy.
Yeah.
Real quick, more kind of fashion-y stuff. I was able to get a bunch of this Block 28 stuff. At the time, my wife was working for Disney, so it was a little easier to track some of this down.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're familiar with the Block 28 run that they did. It's kind of like Disney was doing sort of like a streetwear take, you know, for, you know, a male older demographic, through, you know, some New Era hats, and a bunch of these are like street artists or graffiti artists, or but I'll show you some of these, and these are pretty impressive because the techniques that they were doing were pretty cool. Like this Mickey one, I don't know if you can tell, it's kind of like this marbly fabric.
Yeah.
Which was, I think they achieved it by like a silk screen or something, but pretty cool like feel to that. And this all raised like Mickey Mouse, but you know they're a little more adult.
It's crazy how some of this stuff got approved.
Yeah.
But look at this one right here, man. This one, that's
and you know
nice.
That first one didn't have it, but most of these have satin and, you know, like hits on the bill.
Yeah.
Raised. Oof. Like they kind of just threw it all out there.
That would make me buy a Disney hat.
Yeah. This one's super cool. This one has like silk screen like here, and more embroidery,
The Block 28 stuff's
all satin.
Yeah.
You know, like
this is
they
bad.
said no to nothing here. You know, like
Yeah, they went for it. That's
yeah,
what-
this has like some. I can see that like.
Well, the
shiny-
power of Disney, right? I mean, the power of Disney.
Yeah,
yeah, which is crazy that Disney approved all this stuff. Like
Mhm.
they let the artists go ham on this stuff.
yeah, and this like everywhere. There's every panel has something here. You know, like satin.
Jesus, man.
MSRP on this, $74.99.
Wow. How many years ago was that, Aaron?
These were probably done in like the late 2000s, I think. These guys, kind of different.
That's crazy expensive for them, though,
Stuff
right?
on the back.
Oh yeah, I have
That's
one.
probably, that one's probably my favorite so far. That one right there.
Yeah, it's these skeletons like Jason Mickey.
Yeah, that thing's cool as hell, man.
It's
I have
like
one of them.
all kind of satin thing.
Oh yeah.
That's badass.
So I was able to get probably majority of those. There's others, but like, I just liked them because of all the techniques and stuff. So
Yeah, they're very unique,
yeah.
which is cool.
So that's kind of like I think covers the explosion. I think like when things got diversified, other than league designs. So
It's interesting. A lot of the artists that we talked to started with like a love of sports and comic books. Not all, but a lot did.
Yeah.
It's interesting how those two worlds converge. I think not only in the early lives of a lot of these artists, but also kind of in how it transitions into what they create. So it's really cool. And those hats right there that you just showed, I'm not a huge Disney hat fan, but those are incredible.
Yeah,
those are incredible.
Yeah, I'm just impressed. Like they said no to nothing on those. Like
right, and you appreciate the detail and what
Yeah.
went into those and the construction. Those are badass hats. So that tell me, did that have anything to do? Do you think those specific hats had anything to do with your inspiration in creating your own hats?
Yeah, and that is, I think, something that takes it up a notch. Like something can be simple,
Yeah.
and then with technique and the three-dimensionality of like sculpture of threading, it's it makes something into like a work of art. Like that's what I think that's what's like the cherry on top, is like when something can, it's like a object of art at that point. Like that's kind of why I like designing hats and collecting hats. Like it's like commercial art, and it's not too expensive. Like you appreciate a logo, and you can buy it and look at it and hold it and admire it. So that's kind of like where what I like, and that's why I like doing it too, is like to be able to get something like that made. It's pretty elite to get a hat made. Like that's what's cool about the Clinker Room, like opening that up to artists and stuff like that. So sorry, my dog is.
That's a great transition. So oh no, it's okay.
My dog is like interested in what I'm doing here. So.
That's a great transition into talking about what you did create. And I will say, I'm not sure if you caught our episode when we had Casey on. I think
I've seen it.
But like when Casey was taking Leon and I through the art of embroidery, and how he views embroidery and how he kind of collaborates to create to take a logo and just make it that much more special through the embroidery techniques that he employs in the production process. It was pretty impressive. But I think, like I said earlier in the show, the thing that's really great about you is you've been part of both the original Clinker Room and Clinker Room 2.0. So this was your one cap that was in the original Clinker Room. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this one?
Yeah, sure. I did get one through back in the 1.0 years. Tried a bunch, but luckily did get one. This was part of the Night League, and the theme of that league was like anything to do with the nighttime, or so trying to just come up with a concept for that. I kind of have this idea of like appearing sort of lemur animal with glowing eyes, like coming out of the dark, so it's kind of like a tonal black kind of everything is in
Yeah.
black on black with some really dark green and these like peering neon green eyes coming out, which is like the focus of it. So, much credit to Casey too for
best moment. So Leon and I were kind of looking through the different slides, and we looked at this slide specifically, and I said, that looks like a lemur. Oh no, I said a meerkat. And Leon said, no, that's a sugar baby. I said, Leon, a sugar baby is a candy. So then I said, I think it's a sugar bear.
Sugar bear.
And then Leon said, no, that's a sugar glider.
Mm.
And then you came on and you set us straight. And you said it's some sort of animal with green eyes.
Yeah. It wasn't, it's probably mostly lemur.
Yeah.
But not definitely.
Do you know what a sugar baby is?
I didn't,
Aaron?
when you mentioned it, it didn't, my memory didn't register that, but after you mentioned it, yeah.
Aaron, do you know what a sugar baby is though?
The animal?
I don't think there's an animal. I think it's a candy.
Oh yeah, the candy. Yeah, there's like
remember the candy. There's sugar daddy, and then there's sugar
daddy,
babies.
The bar, and then the sugar baby,
Yeah.
the little beans, right? Yeah, I know what that is. Yeah.
Yeah. So Leon felt this was a sugar baby.
Yeah.
We'll put it to IG vote.
Yeah, we need a poll.
Okay, you want to do that, Leon?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we'll do it after the show. But Leon, I'm not going to quiz Leon today because he would probably give us the. Oh, look at it. And there's a live one in hand.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to go to that. I got it in hand here too.
Yeah, let's do that. Leon's gotten really good at the transitions.
Yeah, there you go.
Look at that thing.
That's a bad.
You know what's cool about that is that like from close up you see all the detail. Far away you just see these two eyes kind of glaring at you.
Yeah.
That's what's cool about this hat, right?
Yeah, that's badass.
So like,
it's like back there, it's a couple eyes just staring at you, and then when you get up close, you see the full sugar baby.
Yeah, his like the ridges are high, and then the sockets are kind of flat, and then the eyes are popped.
Dude, that's crazy.
TJ's
credit
in with the fact check. He said sugar gliders are also called sugar babies.
That's what that's not. What is he talking about?
You said there's no animal called sugar baby.
There is no animal called a sugar baby.
Well, TJ saying.
I'm sorry, Aaron. I don't mean to hijack. I
claim to be no expert of species of any kind.
I just know what sugar babies are because chimpanzees eat them. They hunt them with sticks.
Delicacy.
Yeah,
they hunt sugar babies with sticks, Leon.
Yeah.
Were you Googling this shit while we were talking?
Oh man, no, for sure. They use tools to hunt sugar babies. It shocked anthropologists when it first happened because they would take like a sharpened stick and they would hide in like nooks of trees and they would stab them and pull them out.
But aren't they vegetarians?
Mm-mm. They eat meat. They hunt monkeys. They eat meat. Gorillas are vegetarians. Chimpanzees eat meat as well.
Well, Aaron, I guess we've both been schooled today by resident animal expert Leon Chen came out of nowhere with some facts.
You had me doubting myself. I'm like, there's sugar babies, and you're like, there's no such animal. So when I googled sugar baby, nothing really came up. But now TJ's got me back, got my confidence back. He's like, sugar.
And like another influence from this was like the Air Max 90. Like the green.
Oh, that's my favorite colorway of the. Yeah. Oh, you mean the Air Max 95?
95, yeah.
The 95s. Like that was my favorite colorway of those 95s.
Yeah. And I had dabbled in sneakers,
yeah,
a little bit too.
So let me ask you, Aaron. Let's see if you and I have the same taste in this. So what would if that was one of the great colorways of the Air Max 95? What would be your second favorite?
I put the 90 infrared over the 95. Honestly, that hot pink infrared. That's a favorite. So, and that's the 90.
My two favorite Air Max 95 were the one you're just referencing, right? But the other one was the burnt orange. There was an orange one too that had that gray.
Okay. Yeah. In the 95.
Yeah. No, but I can see the influence now.
Yeah. And at the time too, like the sneaker pairing was hot. It's still around. I know.
Listen.
I've heard the rants too. You know, like the.
Oh, Aaron's actually been watching the show, man. He did his
I
homework.
tried it.
He
Yeah,
did his homework.
like the space jams and all that stuff. So.
Sneaker hooks are crap.
Yeah. Quick one though too. This is
Oh, show us the under brim. What is that?
Yeah, I actually had this custom. This was done. There was a company in like Santa Ana and Riverside out here,
Yeah.
who kind of came popular during like the snapback era, when the snapbacks and the dad hats kind of took over. But their whole thing was they were doing custom build changes. So
Oh, that's bad.
you could pick your top. So that this was actually like a pre-made bill, but I like the colors kind of matched with my design, so I had them do the swap out for that. So this is a 101 that they did. They're called bespoke cut and sew, but they were doing like bill swaps. And a weird thing too that they were doing was they were taking fitteds and converting them to strap backs and snapbacks. I don't know why you would, but they would do that.
What the hell?
Not for me, but that was popular during those years. But it was very cool that I love the concept that they had of making something custom. So.
Aaron, did you ever veer off the fitted road yourself?
Yeah, like I kind of life got married and had kids, and
I've
been collecting for a number of years, and fitteds weren't really popular, and during those snapback years and stuff, and there was years where I wasn't doing much. So a lot of
Leon can't wear a snapback.
No.
I'm a size 8, so to wear them on that last rung is just
yeah. I had some dormant years for sure. Like my interest was other places, or and I followed a little bit, but not really a collector. And I don't have problem with snapbacks. What I didn't like really was like the trend of like trashy 90s snapbacks, like the crappier the better. Like
more plastic.
It seems like our weekend caps is starting to look like that every week, except they're fitted. We're starting to see some rough spells here. So all right, so Aaron, so in the original Clink, you did the nocturnals. That's a badass hat, by the way. And I think I wish I'm praying for the day that Casey says, hey, we're going to re-release some of the originals, and kind of, and that one, man, I'd be 100% on board with that thing. I'd not only get one, I'd get two, just to have one to wear and one to keep in the collection. But tell us a little bit about, let's not talk about the dormant years between Clink Room 1.0 and 2.0, but tell us how you re-engaged with Clink Room when the new iteration came around.
Okay. Clink Room 1.0 had its run, cool. And I understand, like their business took them other places and they had to focus their attention on that. So, it was a shame that it kind of dropped off, but understandable. And so, I'd always wished that it came back, like I'm sure everyone did, but and then with this year, with all that's happened and stuff, like a lot changed. So Casey reached out to me. He's like, hey, we're getting the Clink going again. We want to ask some of the veterans, like, would you be interested in designing? And that's kind of my first one was not through crits. It was Casey asking me to submit things, and and of course like I'd love to do that again, and jumped at the opportunity and came up with
let's show that one. Let's show the first one, right? Let's show the first one. And so this was ruby throats, right?
Yeah, which is a hummingbird, some species of hummingbird. I think it's popular on the East Coast actually. Or it's kind of when Casey asked me, like do anything, like this was kind of like one of the first things that came to mind, and it's probably influenced by seeing hummingbirds, and admiring how fascinating they are, like pretty unique bird, to hover and be able to fly backwards. And they're very elusive and mysterious and beautiful. And I've never seen anything like that on a hat, you know, like that's kind of where I try to find influence in doing things is, you know, there's so many things that have been put on hats.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to find things that haven't been put on hats, you know?
Yeah.
So I did a hummingbird, you know, and, um, you know,
I slept on this one, Aaron, and now that I know you, it
yeah.
pisses me off that I didn't get this.
Well, that's going to happen a bunch, you know, like, you know, if you don't do the pre-order and, you know, we're all
I
going to be
know.
picking ourselves.
I know. I know. Listen, I think this is was a really cool idea.
Thanks.
And you know, how did it feel though, Aaron? I mean, listen, there's other. You're a fantastic artist, and you know, a nice long history here. But you were also there and asked to create something for the initial run for Clink Room 2.0, along with the likes of like Ephra,
Yeah.
you know, John from Ink Park,
Mhm.
several other guys that are just really, really popular in the game right now. So how did that feel?
That's cool to be, that's, you know, I'm honored to be, you know, selling hats next to Ephra, you know, like,
Yeah.
you know, in Ink Park and, you know, these guys, you know, like, or, you know, these guys that are become their own brand and, you know, dropping hats, you know, every week, you know, like,
Yeah.
that's awesome, you know? So I'm honored, you know, and I think, you know, it's competitive, you know, you got to get through the crits, but it's all, you know, I think it's good competition. You know, hopefully the end product's always going to be like cream of the crop, you know, and, you know, we're just looking at, you know, illustrations here, you know, when we start
Yeah.
getting, you know, hats in hand, you know, like, then I think that's when the payoff is going to really hit us is when, you know, getting that final product. Cause you know, like, I don't know if your guys' experiences, but I don't really know how Casey's treating these, you know, like with embroidery. So that'll be I'm sure a pleasant surprise to see, you know, like how he's dimensionalizing these guys. So
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I mean, we should see some of these like, and this one specifically should be in some people's hands like in a week or so, I would
I hope
hope.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this thing is super cool. So tell us a little bit, Aaron, about the difference between the first your first run with Clink Room and
Mhm.
this one. So was it any different? Was the experience different? Aside
Um,
from your life journey changing, right? Because you're in a
yeah.
different place, you're older now. Beyond that, like, was there any difference between the two experiences?
Um, well, the process is different, you know, now with everything going up to Instagram mostly, and there's kind of a more of a barometer, I think, on things. You know, with polling and comments and likes and promoting yourself, and you know, that's all cool. I think it's more transparent, I think. And you know, I think before the process was like they would order a batch run, you know, and hope that they sold out, you know. So they were, you know, it was there, you know, there's that business model of ordering a number and then selling them after you get them, which was, I think, the process of how that ran. So now, you know, it's a little more fail safe to like,
Yeah.
you know, they only order what they, you know, people paid for. So,
Yeah.
you know, just even like before, you know, you were submitting through a website, emailing submissions, and, you know, they would post them and, you know, going through commenting on the site, you know, and, you know, things are just easier now, you know, like, um, that would all have to be done on their end, you know, like getting designs gathered and posted, you know, that was they had to do all that, you know, to basically make like a blog post to get all that put
Yeah.
together. Other differences, it's pretty similar, you know, like it's kind of a core, you know, like there's kind of like the core guys and the regulars, and there's newcomers, and so it's kind of the same that way, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, you kind of become buddies, you know, with certain people, or you know, you can kind of see where people are coming from, you know, like, you know, Ephra, or you know, sometimes in my feed, you know, like if I see a design, you know, I can almost tell who designed it before I even look, you know, like,
Yeah.
because you know, some people have a hand look or subject matter that, you know, caters, you know, so their kind of personality comes through that way. So you know, I've loved it. It's that, you know, grandiose and Clink Room, like they've always had, always sage advice and always positive and great experience with them. And it's just cool to like get your design on a hat, like
Oh
that's
yeah, for
pretty
sure.
special.
So Aaron, before we show the next one, which is one I didn't sleep on, can you just tell me about the toughest piece of critical feedback that you've received in creating a logo or a design for a hat?
For a hat, I'll take, you know, I'll take criticism. Like I'm a designer, day in, day out. So I have thick
Yeah,
skin.
yeah, yeah.
So I'll consider.
Was there a piece of critical feedback that may have like stood out for you that you received when it could be anything artistically based?
If it's like not just like hater talk, like
Yeah,
I'll entertain it, like,
yeah,
but this is my design.
yeah.
So I'm pretty tough on critics, like it
Right.
doesn't get to me. So, and if it's their point of view, like that's fine. Like
Yeah,
if it's right, if I could see it that way, I don't mind making alterations, like um,
yeah, yeah.
I've had
Well, that's
people say like, that'd be cool with this under color, that's fine, I'm just kind
yeah.
of more
It
of
kind of
a,
comes with the territory, right?
yeah, and that's it's kind of like the nature of today's collector too, like I'm kind of
Yeah,
more traditional. Like I like gray unders and green unders because that's
yeah,
kind of my heyday, like
yeah.
in baseball, like the 90s, the
Oh
2000s,
yeah.
the 80s, like I love greens and grays and blacks, okay, like the black nasties, but
Ugh.
but
I'm a bit. My favorite undervisor color though is definitely green. So
green me too. And then the
I'll
gray.
put that out there. Green is definitely my
Green is
favorite.
80s, gray is 90s, so
Yeah.
that's what I
Yeah.
like. I'll pretty much
So
always go with those two.
Aaron, let's move into your the next clink room cap, which is the Catalina flying fish. So tell us about this. This one, as soon as I saw it, I literally as soon as this landed, I bought it. This thing is beautiful to me. It's got that green under. Speaking of green unders, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about this one.
Yeah, so thinking about Clink Room again, like just was kind of like rekindling that my brain, like I loved thinking about concepts back then and doing this now, like it's kind of been a great distraction during this year, like it's been awesome, like takes my mind off of what's going on and stress relief.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
do this stuff on my off hours, when my kids are asleep and my wife's asleep, and um, you know, inspiration comes to me whenever, and I just kind of keep a running list of thoughts. And so this is kind of like something after I did the hummingbird, like something actually I've wanted to do a long time and never really did was the Catalina flying fish.
Yeah.
Um, and I did this one directly, kind of started with the actual fish with wings. Um, and it, kind of in the process, you see the baby blue there with just the fish. And I thought it needed something else. And kind of along the way, I wanted to do like a W for Wrigley. And I kind of went that route. And that's the way I posted it with the kind of Cubs, very really Cubs feeling,
Yeah.
obviously, and the W for Wrigley, which I did W because I didn't know if I could get away with C. Like I didn't want to have like a good design be killed by like infringing
Right.
on like the Cubs IP. Like I didn't want that to be like the nail in the coffin. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this is cool, but like we can't really use the Cubs C. We just kind of made our own here, but so it was a W originally, and Casey was pretty enthusiastic about this one, and we talked it through, and he's like, yeah, it's got to be C for Chicago and Cubs. So, we changed that up. But the inspiration really is, growing up in California, going to Catalina Island. It's a close trip to venture there, and I love it. I love it there. I got engaged there. We used to go to there's Art Deco ball once a year. You get all dressed up and get dappered out and have a good night on the island. So that's where I proposed to my wife. So because it's something we like doing, and we'd gone a number of years together, and that's held at the Avalon Casino, which is that cylindrical building you may know. But always loved Catalina. And then I really didn't understand the back history of Wrigley owning the island, and through the 20s and 30s, and hosting their spring training camp on the island. Like I learned that really by going there and visiting the monument. He was buried there. He was moved actually from he has a very like grandiose Art Deco monument there, and there's a plaque that's still there that says like the origin of the Chicago Cubs. Like some really cool history there. And I kind of just dove into that after kind of just being visiting and enjoying the island. So
Yeah.
even just like I haven't been there in 10 years probably, but always just had that in the back of my head. Like I guess that's kind of even like with like street hockey, like I'd always daydream like, oh well, if I owned a team, or if I was the captain of a team, like who would my mascot be, or like who represents my club. So like Catalina, it's like what represents Catalina that's unique. They have roaming buffalo there, bald eagles, but flying fish was definitely like the underdog, like such a interesting species of fish, a winged fish, so it had to be that for me, like, so that's how kind of the name came through, and paid tribute to the Cubs, so it's the flying fish. And if you notice, I don't know if you pick it up, there's the W in the shadow, so I kind of snuck in the W there.
Yeah.
So where he's like his lower fins are, there's kind of a W. So
I gotta say, I gotta tell you, man, I am so excited to see this one in hand, because this thing, I think there's gonna be something unique about this one. And I know we have to kind of wait and see, but I believe there's gonna be something unique about this one.
yeah,
These were two incredible designs in Clink Room 2.0. I'm sure there's more coming, I would
Yeah.
imagine, as you continue to look for that free time. But Aaron, this was outstanding. We can pull the slides down, Leon. Aaron, I want to thank you so much for being on with us, man.
Thank you guys.
Listen, this was great stuff. And what I like about you, man, is like, you may not have the biggest collection in the world, but you're definitely a hat guy. And the stuff that you showed us tonight was incredible. I love your first design. These two new ones are incredible. I'm pissed I missed the first one. And I'm kicking myself right now. And I'll tell you why I'm mad that I missed the first one now, is because I've gotten to know you. And I think guys like you, I want to support. And I'm sure Leon feels the same. And anyone who's watching right now, guys like you that put in this honest effort and really design from the heart, those are the folks that we love to support and love to help. And that shined through today. Yeah, this is incredible stuff.
Yeah, thank you guys. I like what you guys are doing, and I think there's something for everyone in the Clink Room. So
There is.
as long as people want it, like things will get made. So I definitely talk more with you guys. I got an old collection of stuff, and I think it's awesome that the Clink Room's letting guys like me make a hat. Like
Yeah,
that's what I love about it the best, is like a logo you
opening up so many possibilities, right, Aaron? I mean, there's so many more possibilities out there now because of the Clink Room. The stuff that's being thrown out there now, there's stuff that I never thought I would see on a hat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, even that Catalina flying fish, like I mean, that to me is that what you put together there looks like it belongs on a minor league baseball hat.
Thanks, man. Like, and that's kind of what I strive for. And most of this is like, that's kind of like, if you know, saying that, like, and then, you know, like I see that with like the Jailbirds this week. Like, I could see that as like a minor league affiliate from like the 70s or 80s, you know, like
Oh yeah,
that's
yeah,
why.
it had that nostalgic feel to it, right?
Yeah, it's got like kind of a retro vibe, and you know that's kind of like my wheelhouse is like, and you know, like that's a high compliment of like, you know, this could be a minor league hat, you know, like that's awesome. Yeah.
Well, Aaron, I want to thank you again for being on. You and I can be friends until potentially the Celtics and
Final.
Lakers play in the finals. Until then, we can be friends, and then we could be enemies for a week or so, and then we can go back to being friends again.
Yeah.
But Aaron, I want to thank you again for being on. Thanks for taking us through your life, your early life, and sharing how you got to where you are today. And also kind of sharing what your inspiration was along the way. It was a fun ride, and thank you so much for being on.
Same here. It's flew by here, so.
Yeah. Well, Leon, you want to take us away?
Yep. So make sure you guys join us on Saturday. We will be back with This Week in Caps and all that good stuff. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and we will catch you guys soon. Thanks for joining us, and yeah, stay fitted.
Thanks, guys.